Hi guys. Let's see. Always the hardest part. Sunday, everybody. Let's see. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Happy almost Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can. Oh my
What's
God,
hard?
that was so
What's
fast.
what's hard?
Oh my
There's
God,
nothing that's hard. We're here.
it's so much
Hi.
harder normally. You
Is
did
it?
it. Well, you're like a superstar. You probably have like an assistant over there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
If you count three really lazy, two golden doodles and a puppy golden retriever. Yeah. Lots of assistants.
Yeah.
What's happening? How are you?
I'm good. How are you, friend?
I'm so good.
you
So
know what I
good.
was you know what I was doing right before I came on? No,
What
people
were
are
you
saying
doing?
hi to you, Chris. Okay, look what I found in my
Hi,
basement.
everybody.
Look what I found in my basement.
Yeah, it looks backwards.
Oh,
And
okay. It's the program from our last show.
I swear to God, if you
And
pull out a headshot
no
of me
headshot, no
looking
headshot.
like a
But
crackhead,
do
that
you
that would be a problem.
remember the name of your song?
I don't remember Christmas,
Yeah.
right?
What
Was
was
that
that?
it?
What was it? Yeah. Well, it's backwards for you, but that's what it says. What was that about? I don't even remember that song.
I don't remember Christmas, and I don't remember you, and I da 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 da. Yeah, I can't. If yeah, it'll come back to me if I
Okay. Well, first
really
of all,
put my
hi.
shoulder into it. What's up,
Thank you for doing this. Okay, for people who don't know Chris, everybody knows Chris.
Carl? What's up, Doc?
Oh my
Sorry,
God, you see people you know already?
I do, I do. I love it. I love it.
Please say hi. Okay. So Chris and I went to AMDA together. AMDA is the equivalent of fame, would you say? Kind of, sort of.
Sure.
Do you remember fame? You remember fame. I don't know. You're the same age as me. Yeah, fame. So we lived in New York. We moved there when we were 18. We were like babies. Look at this. Look at this. Babies.
That's yeah, yeah. Hey,
Baby.
Shelby,
Shut
Larry. Yeah,
babies. We sang, we danced, we studied acting.
we wore dance belts. That was weird.
You wore dance belts.
I told that story a few weeks ago. I'd gone to speak to some prospective uh, students at AMDA, and I warned them. I don't know if they still require that.
What
That's a
I
little
don't even
archaic.
First of all, I don't even really know what that is. I don't want to know what that is. But what I remember is that we had a we had a ballet class once where our teacher was like, you have to put your shoulders down. Do you remember this class? And they were like, we had to stand there and
Was
like,
it Harry? Harry Wooliver?
yes.
Yeah, we
Oh,
our dance movement class is what it
yeah.
was.
Oh my God, you remember everything.
I just
That's
well just because I
crazy.
was just there. That's why it all I was
Is
like
it still
thinking
at
about it.
the Ansonia?
They still have a space there, but they
Okay.
actually moved into a building on 61st
Okay.
between West End and Columbus, something like that.
Like closer to
It's
like.
the old, yeah. When we were in school, Alvin Ailey was a residence. His
Oh,
whole
okay.
dance company was in that building. It was
So they
dope.
took their space. Wow, you're
Yeah.
like a rock star at AMDA, I'm sure. You spoke at graduation. They love you, I'm sure. Like
I have probably spoken at 7 or 8 graduations
at their
throughout the
7 or 8?
years. Yeah, throughout the years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Um, I
Who
have a
are you,
lot
Chris?
of I just have a lot of gratitude for that experience,
Yeah,
and for
it was
what I
good.
mean. Like it's just kind of yeah, it's kind of it's why I'm here. So
Yeah, I was thinking, did you go home after, or you stayed in New York right up until afterwards?
nah, I stayed in New York.
You stayed in New York.
Yeah, I had a really good friend who I collaborate with to this day, but he was like, "Look, if you want to work in New York, you need to be in New York.
And
So
was Lion
don't go
King?
do hair in Europe and be naked with 20 other people. Like, stay in New York, get a gig if you need to. But like, I had a pretty quick turnaround.
And was Lion King your first big show?
It was my first Broadway show.
First
Yeah,
Broadway show.
the summer after we graduated, '95. Hello. Um, I had gone to my Darren Ingram had gotten me up. I got pneumonia like the day after we graduated.
Oh, because it was like
I'm yeah. I moved in. My mom was
no.
here. My mom cried because I was like really sick, and she had to go back to Illinois. And so I sat in bed for like I laid in bed for like 2 weeks, and then I got a call from Darren, someone that we both went to school with, and he was like, "Yo, there's an audition for Showboat. Let's go." I was like, "I can't go sing." He's like, "No, I'm coming. I'll be at your house tomorrow at 8:30. Open call." He's like, we're going." He's
Oh
like,
my
"You can't be
God.
sick for the rest of your life. Like, get up. We got to go. Tomorrow's tomorrow." So we did, and I got a call back singing. I don't remember. No, what? No, I sang something from Chess, I think. But I got a call back, and at that callback, I didn't get the gig, but there was another guy there that was also auditioning, an older gentleman named Norman Matlock, who was in the process of mounting a show that he had written with Galt McDermott back in the 70s. And it was a little black box theater, the John Houseman Studio Theater with like 70 seats in it. But I got my equity card
That
within 4 months of leaving, three
I was
months of
gonna
leaving
say
school.
that's like fast, right?
It
That's
was
like super
fast, yeah. But
fast.
we
Yeah.
ran for 5.5 months. We ran a long time.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, but that
People
was like the start. And then like I went and got like 15 jobs and couldn't get, catch a cold. And then fluke got an audition for Lion King and
that
away
was
we
it.
went.
That was it.
Yeah.
What's your is Hamilton your favorite role?
Yeah.
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 Will you do more?
Um, at some point,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I've made orphans of my kids for their almost their
Yeah.
entire childhood. So the last like 5.5, 6 years, being able to stay home on weekends and not miss Christmases and birthdays and
Yeah, yeah. Because
it
I
was
don't think
hard. It was really hard.
people may not know that it's 8 shows a week usually.
Yeah.
8
Yeah.
shows a week.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Oh my God, my daughter's on here. Hi. Hi,
Hi,
Jadlyn.
Jaden. How are you? She's so cute. She's like a full-on teenager.
In every way imaginable.
Well, Ava's a sophomore in college, so
Yeah, I'm clocking all of that. It's crazy.
it's coming. It's
I don't even
coming.
know. I don't even know how that's
It's
possible.
coming. So what are you working on now? Is and just like that done or no?
No, we're gonna shoot a third season, it looks
Oh,
like.
you are?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's sometime in the spring.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah. That's a lot of, I mean, that show is just nothing but fun. Like
Ava
it's
just
the
said
best.
Ava just said I'm on here too. WTF. Hi,
Oh,
Ava.
hi Ava, what's
Hi,
up?
Ava. Don't leave out, Ava.
Hi
Um,
Evan. Just for you. I love the lives.
when Chris was in Hamilton, I think Mike and I came, Ava and I came, my parents came. I literally think I texted Chris like 65 times to say, so and so's coming. Can they come backstage? So and so's coming.
Yes, absolutely.
And then there was like a freeze. It was like, no more. Everyone stop asking me for tickets.
Well, yo, it got crazy.
Yeah,
It
I
got
mean,
crazy because at a certain point, like everybody and their brother was coming, and they had to start putting limits on how many
yeah,
folks could come back because you've got like 13, 14, 15 A-list Hollywood celebs and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
studio presidents and you know what I
Yep.
mean, like just all over the thing.
The night that Ava and I came, we met everybody except Lynn because Kanye and Kim were there. Do you remember that? She still talks about it. She's like, the only one I didn't meet because Kanye was there.
That was,
It was a great show. It was
I
a
saw a lot
great
of things.
show. Does it feel like a lifetime ago now? It must feel like a long time ago.
Yes, except I would be lying if I said like if I rolled my eyes at it because honestly, like I worked for over 20 years and couldn't catch a cold in television and film, and I couldn't, like the access that the experience has brought is really something.
Yeah.
Um, and the amount of growth that gets to happen when you are in something like that, and then the things that happen from that, it's pretty spectacular. It
Yeah.
really is. It's just every day that anytime something happens, I mean, like 90% of the things that I get to do now have some sort of connection to the
Hamilton.
time that I was in Hamilton. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What was the highlight? Was singing at the White House the highlight?
I'd be lying to you if I said that it wasn't, except with that particular experience, almost every day there was a highlight.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really not like I'm understating it at
Yeah.
that. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and it was only worth it because it was the hardest thing that
Well,
I'd ever
even
done.
just vocally, because that song, the one last time, like,
Hmm.
I mean, you must have been just like on vocal rest at all times other than on stage. Or no, you don't have that problem?
I mean, I have before, but I ran into some trouble, 3 or 4 times throughout the run.
Yeah, yeah,
Because trying to do it when you're sick is
yeah,
really difficult.
yeah.
I used to say like being in a Broadway show is like the health equivalent to being in a kindergarten, right? Like when your kids start kindergarten the first 5 years of their lives when they're like in public, the first 5 years of school, they're literally catching everything under the sun twice and then sharing the love and making sure everybody else gets it. But like we all have water bottles, but we all feed our water bottles from the same faucets. So what starts out as a cold ends up as bronchitis for like the 30th person that catches whatever
Right.
bug, and we're
And it
singing
just
in each
keeps
other's
going around
faces. Yeah, and there's 1,800 people in the room too.
the
So
audience, and then everybody coming backstage and
yep. Oh
coughing,
yeah,
sneezing
all
on
of
you.
that. All of that.
Do you sing now? Other like
Oh
just
yeah.
for fun? Yeah, like
I
every
sing for work.
you do?
That's yeah.
You're recording
Um,
stuff now?
I built a studio in my house. Yeah.
You
I
did?
have never really stopped doing all of the other stuff that I do, even in the
Yeah,
midst of like the TV of it all, or doing another show. Like I've never ever just done one
yeah,
thing because
yeah.
it's really hard to stay either gainfully employed or creatively challenged
Fulfilled.
if you don't
Yeah,
keep
yeah. I miss
banging
it.
against the
I
wall.
sing a lot in my house.
Of course you do. I should hope so.
I sing all the time
Allie can
alone.
sing, y'all. Don't let her fool you or tell you otherwise.
I
You
can sing.
sing.
No,
Yes, you can.
nobody hears, nobody believes. Well, I don't know if nobody believes me. I don't think that's just such not a part of my life anymore. But yeah, I miss it. I think about it actually in the context of Parkinson's because they say that singing is one of the things that will keep your vocal cords, your voice strong after you have it.
Yep.
So I think about it. There's actually like a Parkinson's choir. I'd probably be the
Really.
star. No.
In more ways than one.
I'm just kidding. I think about it. I mean,
No. Well, I'm glad that that's, a useful tool
I mean, really, I mean,
for
I was
you.
just made for this Parkinson's journey, but yeah, I do think it's gonna be. I do think singing. I might start again just to keep it strong and hopefully keep my voice as long as possible.
Well, your whole mechanism, I would imagine, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
it's because of it's and it and just with your training, like you trained at a level that
yeah,
most people in the world don't
yeah,
really experience.
yeah.
So it's a
Not just
different
today.
level of awareness and ability.
Yeah, for sure. And not just, I think, the AMDA stuff and the Broadway stuff, but the opera training that I did at Northwestern, I think
Hmm.
too, is like, and I fall back on that a lot. Like I
Yeah,
project, I find myself like project. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe I'll get back into it. I'll try out for the
Okay.
Parkinson's choir
I think you should.
and get all the solos.
I think you absolutely should.
Can you imagine?
That's so dark. Oh my God.
The star, the youngest. There's actually there's something called rock steady boxing, which is also supposedly really good for hand-eye coordination. And I contacted the local one by us, and the woman was like, well, you have to come in and be evaluated. We want to make sure you won't get hurt, if you feel frail. And I was like, oh, no, I'm 48. She was like, oh, you're good. Come in. I was like, okay.
Dick,
Like the
let
only
me
young
show
one.
you something about me. Yeah,
I was like,
Dick.
I'm ready. Okay, so just like that, and then are we gonna do any more Disney? I promise my niece won't. My niece is very, very little, but Moana's her favorite of all time.
Oh, I love it.
She's so cute, Chris.
I love it.
She watches it on repeat all the time. She
Love
was
it.
sings all along with your voice all the time. Disney movies seem like they're fun to make, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not supposed to be in Moana.
You weren't?
No. Lynn had asked Pippa, Sue, and I to demo stuff
Yeah.
while he was writing it. Because he was writing it all through opening of Hamilton on Broadway. It was a little like, how's this happening? But that's what was happening. And I remember recording it. I recorded all of Dwayne's music
Okay.
for him. So Lynn obviously is a genius writer. But I think that the goal was to have someone demo it a little bit closer to Dwayne's voice. And
Yeah.
Dwayne's a pretty good musician.
Yeah.
And so I demoed all of the rock stuff. And we were at a session before a matinee. Pippa and I had both come in. I was doing You're Welcome. I did You're Welcome. And there's a camera in the booth, and the director's there, and Lynn's here with us, obviously in New York, and they're all in LA. And at some point toward the end of recording that, uh, one of the producers said, "Do you happen to know how to do a New Zealand accent?" And I was like, "No, but what do you have in mind? I mean, I have a really good ear." And he's like, "Well, we might need you to sing something with a New Zealand accent." I said, "Why don't you just play it for me?" And the gentleman who they had hired for as Chief Tui was has one of the most beautiful speaking voices I've ever heard. Like,
Yeah.
just as anyone can tell, it's
Yeah.
just warm and melodic. Not a singer, not a
Oh.
singer. And so they played me the demo. Demo wasn't great. So, but I wanted to hear it for, what inflections and whatever. And I think I did like 3 takes of the song after never even hearing it.
Yeah.
But once you kind of become conversant and like really good at picking up Lynn's zigs and
Yes.
zags as a writer,
Style.
I had that part kind of, I was in the middle of all of that. And I did it in about 3 takes, and they were like, "That's amazing, great, thanks." And I was like, "Great, now I have to go warm up because I had a matinee,
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
that day."
Yeah.
Lynn walks in like the very next day. He's like, "Well, you're in the movie,"
Oh my God.
you know. So, again, when I say that there were a lot of highlights,
Yeah, that was one.
it's things like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just you don't wake up. I didn't wake up that morning thinking, "Oh, maybe if I do really well, they'll put me in the movie," or
I didn't even know you were in it until I went to the theater with the kids and was watching it, and I was like, it seriously sounds like Chris. And I was like, am I making that up? Like, am I losing my mind? And then the credits rolled. I made them sit through the credits. I was like, holy shit. That's awesome. That was good.
God, Mom.
Let's see if anybody's asking questions we need to answer. I'm so bad at reading this because it's so freaking small. Can you sing something? No, poor Chris is not here to sing from Hamilton. You all. Make him sing.
Make him sing. Do it now.
Chris, will you be my friend from Venezuela? That's so cute.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Wait, so after you got the part, did you re-record it or did they use
No.
the demo? They
used
demo?
what I recorded there. Yeah.
That's it?
If they'd asked me to do it again, I would have totally like destroyed it.
No, it was so good.
The worst thing you can do is like give somebody like me,
more
chances.
More chances.
No.
Okay, so and just like that shoots in New York, so you're close
Yeah.
with the kids. And how was the strike? Were you happy to be off for a bit, or was it like anxious?
No, I had already been off since the spring, so no, I was not I am in the business of trying to make a living.
Strikes are bad. Strikes are bad for that.
Strikes are necessary, but this one was really necessary, and I'm really glad it happened. I'm sorry that it hurt so many people.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that it really created a lot of stress. It certainly did in my house, but like honestly, things needed to happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot because there's a lot of change happening, and the further we go, the more you have to stay on top of those things. Otherwise, it just gets away and people end up losing.
Are people generally happy with how it all unfolded, do you think?
I think a majority of people are. To be honest, like I've tried my best to understand the finer points. As I have done in most instances, like I end up learning more about certain parts of contracts or certain parts of the industry as I'm on set talking to other actors who are, navigating deals or, just the history of how they navigate stuff. It's not like you can check you can't like, you can go online and look at like the contract stuff, but I have a lawyer who has to explain things to me because I don't understand legalese very well, and I have a manager that makes sure that things stay on top. You know what I mean? Like it's the process will inform you as well. So I'll get around to it. I voted yes for it though.
I think people don't realize too how many people are involved when something like that happens, like the makeup artists and the hairstylists and the drivers and the
the delis and the caterers that
like craft service, like there's so many people that are affected when a shutdown happens like that. So,
And they've tailored either their entire business or their profession around servicing this
right,
very specific kind of,
right.
kind of industry. So it becomes very
I
tricky
think
for a
that's
lot of
great.
people.
Okay,
Yeah.
so part of the reason I had you on was to just talk about, just to get you on my phone. So,
Hey,
because you only text back one for every five that I send you. But
terrible. I'm sorry.
but but I also wanted to talk a little bit about, so this page in general is about my own, obviously, journey in the brain health space, which is ironic because I spent the last 10 years working in the brain health space for Alzheimer's organizations, for a couple different ones, but I'm using this as a learning opportunity, and I want everyone here to learn about the different various aspects of it. And so you have your family has your own brain health story with your son CJ, and I think people probably have seen it online, and I know you've talked about it openly, but
Yeah, absolutely.
talk a little bit about how he's doing, and the journey that you guys have been on with that. And if Veronica's watching, hi
Oh, they're
Veronica.
at the movies
Ah,
actually. Yeah, yeah.
Sally.
CJ had, we incentivize everything. We have to.
Yeah.
But he's quite the avid movie goer
Oh, he is.
and delights in reading all of the credits to see which of Dad's friends or acquaintances are in, whatever movie he happens to be
That's awesome.
watching. Oh yeah, he gets a big kick out of it. Shout out to Josh Gad, who never ever fails to send him. Anytime I see Josh, he's like,
Oh,
I gotta make a video for him. So send it, let's do that now.
wait, Josh Gad seems like the nicest person in Hollywood, maybe. Like, is he the nicest?
He's terrifyingly terrible. He's awful.
You can't be. I'm sorry. I don't believe
Oh
it.
no,
I don't believe it.
he is one of the best people I've
What's
and
that
truly
show?
like funny
What's the
people.
show he's doing right now with Andrew Rannells, right? Is he? They're doing a show, I think, right? Did I
Yes,
make
I
that
don't.
up?
No, I can Google it, but that
I
would be
can't
really
remember. No, you
lame.
don't have to Google it.
Um,
I've seen them everywhere.
no, they're both of them like
Yeah.
in the same room. We did the Biden benefit in September, and I just went down to watch both of them
Yeah. I mean,
in the room.
they're
They're
just
hilarious.
sit and watch. Oh, Gutenberg. Someone said Gutenberg. Gutenberg.
Yeah, there it is. Gutenberg.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. As a theater professional, I'm
You should know.
daft. I'm
Know them
absolutely
all.
daft when it comes to. No, our son CJ is going to be 19 at the end of January,
Wow.
which is insane.
Amazing. Yeah.
He was diagnosed in 2007, just after his second birthday, and we had him evaluated, I think, 3 times, I believe.
Yeah.
But he experienced what is considered an acute regression. So he went from having some words and being able to make eye contact to not really being able to process a lot of his words at all, not being able to make eye contact, not being playing into a corner every day. It just, there were always certain little nuances to his character, but as someone who was literally beating the pavement every day and developing, we were just about, CJ got his diagnosis 5 minutes before the first run through of In the Heights off Broadway, 5 minutes before it happened. And prior to that moment, I had never even I didn't know what the word autism meant.
Right.
2007. And so that was a real fearful time.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me personally, but also, my wife, who was an active, singer, recorder, recording artist, actress, this was not what we had, intended.
Right.
This was not a part of the plan. And we quickly, very much thanks to my wife, learned a lot very quickly. And we learned where the points of advocacy were in our community. We had to learn really, really quickly about what needed to be done. How do we set the early intervention machine in motion? That included physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists. We had a behavioral therapist coming in at the house 5 days a week.
Wow.
We had speech therapy 3 days a week. It was just
And this was
constant.
right away. This was right away when
right away within 30 days of the diagnosis, because he was diagnosed with PDD-NOS, which is about as broad diagnosis as one can get.
Okay.
And for a spectrum disorder, you put 1,000 people in a room, all on the spectrum, and all of them have a different set of, sort of challenges and or things that need to be considered and made room for and treated and or just adjusted for.
Right, right, right.
And then CJ started school at 3. He was in programs at 3. So for him, it was for all of us, it was really concentrated on how do we understand this and how do we correct or what he himself had lost, what we'd seen him lose, but also how do we meet him where he's at,
Right, right.
and you're still young parents, and when you're having kids, you only really have one. It's a
Vision,
really
yeah.
myopic thing. It's like this is the
Right.
one version that this is going to happen. Of course, as they get older, it changes, obviously. But for us, it really became like, okay, when I come home, I'm not going to turn on Sports Center. I'm not going to crack a beer. I'm going to get down on the floor and see what I can see,
Play. Floor
see what he'll
time.
show me. Yeah, see what he'll
Yeah.
show me. So it kind of it turned me into a dad of small things. That's what I'm like to say, and of course that wasn't consistent, and of course I suck at a lot of stuff, but it brought me really close to an understanding of what it means to have a kid on the spectrum,
Yeah.
and really appreciate anything
Yeah.
that is new or anything that is repeatable. It's all important, you know.
And I read in that one article that it said that you had a doctor, maybe, or more than one, that was sort of like, no, no, he's fine. This is
The
normal.
first evaluation, we had four clinicians come into our house and they observed him for like an hour. And he was doing all of the things that we had noticed had changed. And they were
Yeah.
like, well, it's early, so give it a little bit of time. And we
Yeah.
took him back to our pediatrician that was there through Montefiore Hospital in the Bronx. And he was a young, he had just started to practice as a pediatrician. And he was like, nope, set up another one. They're wrong. But we couldn't turn on the early intervention until those clinicians or other clinicians came in and actually pulled the trigger on sort of starting that whole process.
Gotcha.
And I mean, that doctor he was our pediatrician for less than a year. And
Wow.
then he vanished. He moved practices. We have not been able to like reach out to
Find
him.
him. Oh,
Yeah. It's,
that's so.
like you think about those things, but I tend to think about it in terms of like, man, if that guy wasn't there at that time, how much
Yes.
more would CJ have? How much harder would it have been
Yeah.
if we hadn't been able to start his intervention on the day that we started it, and we weren't
And
able to
I
continue it
think that,
every day since.
I've talked on here before about medical self-advocacy,
Hmm.
because how many times you've been to the doctor, and it happened with me. I had symptoms for 2 full years. I
Wow.
saw I saw my neurologist, I saw my GP, I saw people, and multiple, maybe not multiple, two different doctors told me it was either in my head, stress,
Sure.
normal stress stuff, or that, one of the medications I was on was too high and they were going to shift it.
Right.
And I kept pushing. I was like, nope, something's wrong. Can't use
Oh,
my
but
hand.
but you're not even like mentioning the whole woman part of it
Oh,
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
when you
100%.
move into that, yeah, you move
100%.
into that time, then it's like,
Oh,
oh, it's
100%.
everything's perimenopause.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you've got,
yeah.
Hashimoto's, well, don't worry, it'll go away when you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, I'm dealing with symptoms right now. I have to, like, what is,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, and that actually
it's
happened to
crazy.
me
I know. Yeah.
even way back when I was in college, or not in college. How old was I? Bobby was 1. So in 2008, they found a tumor on my thyroid, and the doctor then told me that I was like, I can't remember what word he used. He was like, you need to just chill out. He was like, you're overreacting. Like, as a woman, not only the menopause thing, but the whole
Yeah.
like women are hysterical thing is a
Right,
whole other
right,
thing in the
right.
medical.
You
But
said
anyway,
2008?
2008, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It's amazing how, I mean, there are obviously a lot of issues
yeah, 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 yeah.
still,
But you
but it was
find one
way worse back
doctor,
then for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but you find one doctor who listens. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like your pediatrician who is like, nope, something's wrong. I
Yep.
hear you. I see you. I'm listening. Like, let's do all of the tests. And I did have that in the neurologist that eventually sent me to the one that diagnosed us. But it takes, I mean, you got to like press, you got to keep pressing. And
Yeah.
same with CJ. Like, you knew something was wrong.
Well, you know what?
You
And even
know?
as you're talking, Allie, I thought my wife was crazy.
So that's
So
not what you should
to
say.
be completely honest, well, no. I what I did was sort of I skipped points as a means to like get through a year and a half
Yeah.
of like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
really fearful time. And I just received a text from my wife who's at the movie, but texted me about something else, and it reminded me like, no, if I'm gonna be real about it for like the first 5 months, and especially after the clinicians came in,
Yeah.
I was like, they just said everything was cool, but I was
Right.
also covering for the fact that I was in
There.
rehearsal, and
Hmm.
when I was in rehearsal, I was downtown beating the pavement, so I was not seeing the same sort of full list of things that
Right.
mom,
Right.
who carried this child and has been with him every moment of his, life
Right.
would have known. And it took me a long time to actually like give credit for
Yeah.
like not having seen it at the right time. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
like make sure I was being very,
No.
clear with
For
that.
those who have not seen Chris's wife, look her up. She's like amazing, talented
She's tough, boy.
actress,
She's
phenom, on
tough.
top of being amazing mom.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
talk.
so how is he doing now? He's in school. Is he still in school?
He's
Yeah.
in, yeah, he is in a BOCES program,
Okay.
and they do a lot of life skills stuff. CJ's really funny. Puberty hit our house like a bomb. He and there was, especially for him, and what was crazy, and everybody laughs at their kids, and they should, because teenagers are nuts because they're going through so many things and they're nothing but like hormone holders. But CJ would be sitting at the table, you ask him a question, but he wouldn't answer in a deep enough voice until he would correct himself. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. It was, so what quickly happened when that set in was, okay, well, what's the autism and what's the puberty?
Okay.
And the
Right.
puberty was really jacking the whole
Oh
like
God.
stasis in our house up. And I would just most of the time would just laugh because what else can you do?
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be a teenage boy.
Yes.
The whole monosyllabic answer phase that
Yes.
every teenager goes through at some point. Like he had
Rough.
an extended version of it, and he had an excuse for it because
Yeah.
he's autistic, and his speech was a little like his speech was, he only talks when it's necessary. So I say all of that to say, um, at school he's great, but he needs a lot of reinforcement because he's
Yeah.
stubborn. I don't know where he gets that from. His, mo- his mother. Um, and he's really, he's incredibly empathetic when he's paying attention, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a Lego machine. He loves building Legos. He's got
Oh my gosh.
thousands of them. But he loves his family. He loves his sister.
Yeah.
His sister. The um, he loves the environment.
Yeah.
When people come into our home, only our friends and family are here. So he's very comfortable with people
Yeah.
generally at home. And, he's, a lot of kids on his level, they sometimes have to learn a script in a way as a ways to like navigating social environments because they can be very, very stress inducing for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But he's just grown leaps and bounds, and he's the sweetest kid, and he may be with us forever, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're good
I
with
wish,
that.
I kind of wish my kids would be with me forever.
Oh no, you get him every day for 18 years, and you never see him more than a week at a time. Like
Come
that's what
back.
happens.
Come home. Come home. I know all
Yep.
four of us moved far, far away from my parents. By the way, I'm sure my parents are watching, so you should say hi because
Hi.
they are without question
I
the
love it.
world's biggest Christopher Jackson
Are
fans.
they in
I swear.
Chicago? Is it Chicago
No, they're
there?
here now. They're here
Oh,
now.
they're in DC. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
they moved just about half
Oh,
an
so
hour up the
cool.
road. Yeah. And my mom said to me
Cool.
yesterday or 2 days ago when I told her that I was doing this, that she has seen every single episode of Bull. Every single episode of Bull. Just because of you. I don't
She
even
should get
know.
free. She should get free cable for 10 years. God bless that
I,
show.
was it good? Was that a good show to work on? I mean, that was like a long run for you. How many years was that?
6 full
6
seasons.
years. Yeah. It's a long run.
Um, it was a good run. I
Yeah.
learned how to make TV.
Yeah.
It was a
Because
master class in
that was
TV
your
making.
first like regular series show, right?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
series regular. Yeah, first
Yeah.
series regular. Yeah, it was challenging in a lot of ways to go from something like Hamilton
Yeah.
to shooting an episodic TV show in New York. Like
Yeah.
that just is, but it was a real blessing because again, I learned how to make television and I got to work with a lot of really great people. And shooting's not always the most fun thing to do. It's
It's
not.
long, right? It's like long
It's
days of like,
long, it's isolated because it
yeah.
needs to be. And, we shot Bull in the middle of Ridgewood, Queens, surrounded by cemeteries
Oh, jeez.
and mechanic shops. Like driving to work was long and tedious and,
Yeah.
like it was a job,
Yeah.
but it
It's a
was a
job.
job.
Yeah. I
It
think
was a
people
job.
think that, I mean, not that there aren't great perks of being in your world, but like, I don't think people realize how much work it is. Like tedious, long
Yes.
days.
But
Yeah.
also, there are people that put roofs on houses
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
drive
Yeah. Yeah.
drive tractor trucks. So, it's always very helpful to keep that perspective, that very specific perspective, because for an actor it can be very, trying and tiring. But
Yeah.
also, like at the end of the day, like, I heard Michael Weatherly told me he used this analogy once. He's like, astronauts, they spend their entire lives dreaming and achieving and, working so hard, and then they get selected and they train and they are, they get picked to go to the moon and, go into space. And then they get there and it's 15 seconds or 15 minutes of the most exhilarating human experience possible. But once you get up into space, all you're doing is like floating around watching the planet. You're on a spaceship looking out a window, right? Like, as great as this experience can be, you're still just staring out a window. You get to do a spacewalk, and that's the most
That's it.
exhilarating thing you're going to
That's
do.
it.
And then
Then
you
you're
come
like,
right
all
back
right, let's
and you're
wrap up.
peeing in a tube. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not glamorous. This is not, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Oh my God. Actually,
that's kind of like what shooting a TV show is.
being an astronaut is my worst. There's a ride. This is totally random, but there's a ride at Disney World where you get strapped in and they like pretend to launch you into space.
Yeah.
It's the worst ride in the history of time. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine being strapped to a metal thing and lit on fire. No.
Did you ride Pandora? Did you do that one though? I cried the first time I did it.
Oh, it's
I
so.
was like, oh, I smell things. It's so nice in the mist and the colors.
No,
Oh.
we're like Disney nerds.
It's
Our little
just,
family is Disney nerds. In fact, sitting on my desk right now is this little ornament that Mike just brought up. But yeah, in fact, we're going to
love
Disney
it.
again because Bobby and I are running the Disney half marathon for the Michael J. Fox Foundation on January
Amazing.
6th. Yeah, so we'll be in Disney in like a month. Can't wait. Love Disney. Love it. Can't get enough.
So good. So good.
Have you taken the kids there? Would that be too much for CJ? No, he loves it.
You think I do a Disney movie
I know. Well, I don't
on
know.
a fluke and then not be, pulling some favors? And trust me, I don't care who you are. Like, that's a big one
Yeah, yeah.
to ask the company. They make you jump through all the hoops. Like real talk.
What? To go to Disney when you've been
Well,
in
you
a
can't
Disney
just go,
movie?
but you can't just go to Disney though.
Yeah.
Like you gotta get the tour guide, because if you just kind of walk out, then it's like you're at a party and your friends are supposed to meet you there, but they never show up, and so you're stuck with a bunch of people that you might be perfectly nice, but you don't know anybody, and you're there.
Do you get stopped?
So,
Is it surreal to get stopped when, like, do you remember the first time that like people recognize you as Chris, like not as you, but like the actor?
I don't remember a time now before it.
You don't. It's just part of your
No,
world now. Yeah.
it becomes, and it's not the most pleasant experience.
Yeah. Because
It's really not.
you can never have a bad day. Like you can never have a bad day.
Well, I'll go one. So it's tricky talking about it because it can be construed as being ungrateful. Because, but here's the thing: you can only ever appreciate anonymity in the way that we're discussing it when you have it.
Yeah.
Because after you've lost it, very few people, you get to relate to very few people.
Yeah.
In that.
And
It's
I
just,
think I don't think it's like I would imagine it's not so much the interactions, although you've never been, I cannot even imagine that you would have ever been anything other than gracious to everybody, because that's just who you are. But I don't think it's so much the like daily interactions. I think it must be just like the sense of loss of complete privacy. Like, and it's like you are never off. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you can't, like, I go to Target and nobody knows who I am. You know what I mean? But like,
the thing that I tell people, because 99.9% of the people that I've ever come into contact with that I didn't know were very sweet.
Yeah.
I make things for people to like.
Yeah.
I make things to be consumed by large groups of people at a time. It would be unrealistic to think that I could go somewhere and not be, you know,
Yeah.
if things are going well, it'd be really hard to not think that someone's going to recognize me. Now,
Right.
during COVID, I would always bug out because people somehow still understood or knew who I was, and that's a trip because I'm
Yeah.
wearing a mask and a hood and glasses. Like when everybody is wearing a mask and a hood and
Right. Right.
um, but like honestly, I it is a burden for me that no one else needs to care about
Yeah.
because it's a burden for me, and it can sometimes be a burden for my kids,
Yeah.
but they've also kind of grown accustomed to the idea that, daddy is known by a lot of people because
Yeah.
it's just true. It's been
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of people,
Which is
and that's
amazing.
okay.
Which is amazing. But
That's
also
just the evidence of things going
yeah,
right or going
right.
well,
Yeah,
so
I've seen it in my work because I've staffed other actors, and
sure.
I think the thing is the sense of sometimes entitlement that people feel over you. It's like,
Mhm.
I know who you are, so I want a selfie. I'm going to take a selfie, and if you say no, then I'm going to like blast you to the world that you were rude. It's like
I don't live in a lot of fear of that though. It's really
yeah,
easy to be cordial to people. It's really
yeah,
easy. It's also really easy to take a selfie.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, you're like the
You know what I
nicest
mean?
guy.
It's easy to do that.
You're like the nicest
I'm not alone
actor
in
of all.
that. Like most, honestly, like I always tell people, like if you meet an actor that doesn't want to take a picture, you don't want to take a picture with them.
Yeah,
Like it's not
yeah,
all, and that's not always the case. But like if I'm having a day, I've met people that have brightened my day
yeah,
by
totally.
saying something kind. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's not a zero sum game. It can be a nice exchange,
yeah,
but you have to, if you're not in a place where you can do that, and you at the grocery store, or you've got a cold, or you got boogers running out of your nose, people understand that too. I haven't
yeah.
really like, since I left Hamilton, I haven't. The only real rude people that have been like the professional autograph getters,
Oh,
outside of
yeah, yeah,
events.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes they can become a little
Yeah.
assholic, but other than that, like, it's fine.
Do you
Yeah.
think, looking back 30 years ago, did you think this was the path that you would have? Did you ever have doubt that this was your future?
Not until I finished Lion King in 2002.
Yeah.
Um, nah. I
You
knew
did.
that I didn't come here thinking that there was going to be anything different. What I didn't know is all of the different things all the different skills that I would acquire,
Yeah.
that I would become passionate about, and then that I would be able to like uh, include in
Yeah.
sort of my portfolio of skill sets, and that before I got on with you, like I was doing a script meeting. Like that's
Yeah.
just yeah. I mean, so I'm writing, I'm producing, I'm supporting other folks that are doing the same thing. Like to be in that community is really dope because you can't just always be on a stage or in front of a camera. It just doesn't.
Yeah. The backside.
For me,
The other
that's
side
not
of it.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm
it's
excited for you.
fun.
I can't wait to see what's next. I think there's an Oscar in your future, probably at least, or maybe just a tone. Well, did you
How
get a,
about
have you
just
got
a
a,
good film? You know what I mean? Like how
yeah, good.
just are a good God, at a certain point, like a good audition has the same value as a good day on set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just
That's a really good way to look at it. That's a really good way.
yeah. I always said there's only two kinds of artists that are in this business. Those that have enough money to pursue wherever the art takes them, and those that don't have any dough and don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Just
Like,
in it for the
and
ride.
I always kind of find myself right in the middle of those people, depending on what month and what, day of the week it is. But I really do try to pursue, I try to hold fast to the art of it all. And it makes me a little flaky, and it makes me a lot really inconsistent in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to like, checking my phone. But
Checking the
I, but
responding
I,
to texts.
I mean, real talk, or even seeing text for like a week.
What's crazy is that if you're looking at the comments that are here, like, and this must, I know you'll, I don't know, maybe you'll demur this a little bit, but like the fact that so many people know every line from Hamilton, know every, I mean, it's going to live on. I mean, sounds ridiculous, but like it's going to live on forever. Like that must feel
Sure.
like like a huge privilege to have been a part of that. Like it, I mean, I'm just like watching people are like, history has its eyes on you, history has its eyes on you. It's funny. It's like,
Pretty catchy.
look at, I mean, literally, like people know
Yeah.
every single word. Like it's crazy amazing how it all came together. And
There's just a simplicity in what Lynn found. I don't I have spent a lot of time both talking to him and talking to Tommy. I don't understand how, because it hasn't happened in our, well, maybe the last time that this happened, a version of this happened, I guess. Okay, you can argue that Rit was that
yeah,
show,
yeah,
right? It was
yeah,
kind
for
of that
us.
show for us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and that before that, like chorus line, there, people
Mhm.
feel the same way about a Sondheim,
Yeah,
lyric, or about West Side. Like there are these generationally, or Wicked, these
yeah,
shows that are much like the way that teenagers discover pop music.
yeah, yeah,
And the reason why we still remember songs from when we were 10 or 11 or 12 is because our hormones were literally supercharging our brains. So young kids that learned this score when they were 8 years old are never going to forget it,
right, right.
because it was at a
It's
moment where they were the minds were the most fertile. But like if you look at those other shows compared to a show like In the Heights or a show like Hamilton, like social media didn't exist
right, right, right. True.
before this show came into the world. Like you and I didn't have a YouTube to go check out a performance of a bootleg or whatever of
No,
someone singing a
we used
song
to
from,
go to the we used to go to the Lincoln Center
the Lincoln
Library.
Center Library.
Remember? We used to get
And
sheet music at the
you
library.
should see their library now at AMDA. And I'm glad about it, right? But I like what I tell students from there, like, you have no idea.
You have no idea. We would
I remember the
photocopy
number
the
of times I had
music.
to run from 74th Street all the way
Yes,
down to, the library, pray that
100%.
nobody was on the copier, because I
Yes,
needed to get that score to make my next
yes.
class.
Oh my
Meanwhile, they were
God.
just like boop boop boop, and there it is, like and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think, like a lot of sort of intergenerational conversations end with, like, we had to do the Dewey Decimal System, and
We
kids these
did.
days don't really have to work hard to look up anything,
No,
right?
no.
We had the desire, and there was a methodology we had to pursue that was a
Yeah.
lot harder and a lot more time consuming, but you
Yeah.
learn things in that process. Um, it it's really astounding to me how profound that time in our lives,
Yeah.
uh, the way it reverberated, right?
Yeah.
And so I think about that, and I think about that in the context of how a show like Hamilton, it wasn't all strategy.
Yeah.
That Hamilton spent less advertising money in the first 2 years than I think most any show on Broadway. Like it
No.
just, we didn't have to.
Yeah. It was
People
lightning.
responded to it, and they were telling each other about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that it's really gratifying in that regard of being a part of something that was so significant and important. And it was no less important to any of us. Like it was the most important thing that we were doing, and
Yeah.
it was with a sense of purpose that we went on stage every night. And that's not something that uh, I can't say that that has been the case in every other show that I've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
Heights and Hamilton really felt that way,
We're the two.
and that's different. You know,
It's just amazing. It was like life altering to see, and I'm so glad that I got to see it. I saw it
me too.
5 times.
You've
I think
seen it more than I have.
I think I've seen it 5 times.
You've seen it more than me.
I saw it 3 in New York, and maybe just 4. Maybe just 4. I
Mm.
saw it at the Kennedy Center, which
Okay.
was kind of like it was great, but it was just different. And I saw it. I think I saw it with the whole cast several times. I don't know.
You know
Obsessed.
that 2025 will be our 10-year anniversary.
Oh my God. Stop. God, we're getting old. How was 2025? 10 years of
Yeah, boo
Hamilton.
boo. Yeah, boo boo.
Yeah, Mike and I are celebrating 24 years tomorrow. Is that insane?
How is Mike? He
He's
looks
good.
great in the pictures.
Downstairs. He's
That's
doing
what's up.
great. He's fancy lawyer dude.
I
He's
mean,
doing great. He's
not
the
a
best.
surprise. Please
He
give him
he
my
literally has
regards.
been my rock this year, and through this whole thing, he's been great. So
I mean, y'all been solid since day one. That's what I love
literally,
about it.
so I went to go find these memorabilia here, and it's, oh my God, look at this one. Look at this. Can you see that one? Wait, there's so many. I die.
I don't even have those.
Oh
So,
my God.
like on a downtime, you're gonna have to like scan them and send
Oh
them
my
to me.
God. I have some of the funniest pictures of us. Okay. There's
Y'all,
one in here.
I lived on a cup of soup, a bagel, and a Coke
Oh my God.
every 6 days a week for years. Oh no, not the green and white like
Wait,
plaid farmer boy
here's one
shirt.
of
That's
us.
hilarious.
Here's one of us together. This is right before we did some show.
Oh,
Some show where we were
that
in,
was our
okay,
showcase.
this was, no, yeah, that was our showcase, but then there was also this one where we were like dressed as like old people, like
It's backwards, so I can't it
sorry, you
takes me a
can't see
minute.
it, but like why were we dressed? I don't even remember what this was about.
What was the teacher's name?
It was Unrelenting Relations. That was the
Yeah,
name
we
of the
did.
show.
Did I do Antic Spring? A scene from Antic Spring?
Yes, Jack Edelman. That was
Jack
our
Edelman.
teacher, and our
Jack Edelman.
director was David Bolander.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, Dave Bolander. Okay. Yeah,
you were
yeah.
Tartuffe.
Oh yeah.
That's what it says.
There was
You were
I seem to remember that there was a black wig and a robe
Yes,
involved in that.
I
I
was.
wore I
I was.
wore a black wig.
I was woman number 2.
Yes, you were. Yes,
I was
you
always meant to be
were.
a star. Clearly, I was also Birdie in another part of the forest, apparently, and you were Jake. I have no idea what that was. I don't
I have
even
no
remember.
idea. I don't
I have
remember that one.
no idea. I blacked out most of that part of my life, but I missed it. But look, I made a binder and my mom kept it.
Oh my God. Does that say coma? What does that say?
It says Amda.
Oh, this is
And it has like a ton of little stars. Look
Oh,
how
it's
cute.
backwards again.
Oh, it's
I
backwards. Sorry.
yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
it's
backwards, but it
from
says
here.
Amda.
It looked like it says COMA.
You know what else I have? And then I'll stop because people are like, we don't care. But look at this. This is, this will be backwards too. But look, I even have the like tickets, like the
Oh my
little
God.
tickets from our show, a
Oh, you were
musical
so ahead of the
review.
scrap. You were so ahead of the scrapbooking
I
game.
was
I
a
love it.
scrapbooking maven. I didn't even know
Oh
it.
my God. That's so good.
All right, friend. Well, thank you for
So
spending
good.
almost an hour with us. Wait, let's just see if there's any questions that we should answer. I don't know. People are probably like, have been asking for hours and I've been ignoring them.
You're
Every
gonna
time I do
scroll
one of these,
down.
I'm like, I'm going to read the questions. I'm going to read the questions, but I never can. They're so small.
Got like 52 minutes of questions
I know,
scrolling
52
down.
minutes. I wish I had seen you in the Heights. Oh, tell me about the movie. Oh, well, I guess they just shot the movie when you were doing the live of Hamilton, right? Like that wasn't a separate
Oh
movie,
no,
right?
no. We shot the movie over 3 days. We did 2 performances in front of live audiences, and then
Oh, you
one
did.
day we did just Steadicam work. So we were, performing, but it was really just to get the cameras up on the stage. So we didn't do it with an audience. We had like 13 cameras on the performances that uh, were in front of an audience.
This
So
says,
that was
any
cool.
advice on how to get into musical production or the entertainment industry? You've got to pound the pavement. That's
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's there. There's so many avenues to information now. I don't know advice-wise what I could necessarily offer, except that if you wanna do it, you should research it and pursue it in a very specific kind of way.
This one says, not a question, just saying, hey, from
Oh,
Cairo.
hey,
Hey,
from
from
Cairo,
Cairo.
who is it?
It's ladies number 7. I don't know who
Hi,
that
ladies, number 7. I don't see it, but
is.
Cairo, that's my hometown. So
And
I
then
hope I
this
know
one
you
says,
and much
wait,
love.
is it Cairo or Cairo?
Cairo, no, it's Cairo.
Cairo.
It's spelled Cairo, but it's Cairo.
And then this one says, what's your favorite project to work on?
The next one.
Do you have another one coming up? Or are you just saying facetiously?
No, I have. I've sold 2 scripts. We're
Nice.
pitching 2 more. I'm in like real development mode. I went through all of COVID. I didn't read a book. I wrote 2 songs. I was just completely shut down creatively because I was afraid I or my family were going to die.
Yeah.
And that was a long and protracted kind of, fear-based thing. But during the strike and throughout this last, like since the spring, um, I have just done everything that I could to be as creative and turn out as much new ideas, get them down on paper as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I was really fortunate to get a first look overall deal with CBS. So I now have a place to go with my ideas,
That's amazing.
can kind of be in the marketplace that way. So again, not something that I ever expected I would be doing, but really, really uh, fortunate, and so I'm
And do you
trying to not waste it.
attribute your success, besides your crazy talent, but like, do you attribute your success to hard work, luck, combination? Like, what do you,
I
if you
don't know
look
that
back?
it's luck. Everything that I've gone, if there was ever a lucky break, that was meeting Lynn and Tommy.
Yeah. Okay.
But honestly, like, I don't, like it takes a lot of factors for people to want to work with you and to allow you to be in the rooms that you end up being in. And um, that was fought for, worked for. It wasn't
Yeah.
just sort of like, oh, Chris is great, so now we're just gonna have, like, the reason why Lynn puts me in the things that he puts me into is because we have been on stage literally thousands of times together,
Wait, tell
all around the
everybody.
world.
I'm
So,
sure everybody knows this, but tell everybody how you guys met.
I got a call from Janae Hernandez the night before was moving back to New York. I'd gone to Chicago to do a musical out there. We closed 2 months early, and I was packing up. And Janae said, "I just met these guys. They're doing the show. It's hip hop and it's rap and it's R&B, and you need to meet them. They're wonderful." And I was like, "All right, well, I'll come back tomorrow. How about the day after?" I took the last $2.50 that I had, and I bought 2 tokens, and I made it down there to the drama bookshop, and I met Tommy, and I met Lynn, and I met Bill Sherman, and they were these kids that had just gotten out of college, and they were working on this thing that I'd never heard of before.
Right. Right.
And I thought that you had to look like Stephen Sondheim to be a legitimate musical theater writer, and
Which
clearly you do
which
not.
was which was in the Heights, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what became In the Heights, and that was 2002. And 5 years later, we were opening off Broadway, and then the very next year, we hit Broadway.
Which
So
is
it's
which is 10, almost 10 years, not quite. I guess, when did we graduate? 95. So,
yeah.
7 years after we graduated. And I think that's the key, is like, so many people like me, not that I put myself in the giving up category, but like, get to the point where you're like, this Broadway acting stuff is exhausting. Like, moving
Mhm.
on. Peace out.
Well, but this is after like doing Lion King for 4 years
Yeah, yeah.
and
That's a long
3
time.
knee surgeries,
Oh my God.
and thinking that my
Oh, I lost your sound.
not in the cards for me. You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So, like that was like I had experienced some things, and that was like probably the hardest moment for me was after I finished the run in Lion King and not really having prospects that were not understanding the ebb and flow. I always say that Lion King was like grad school for me. AMDA was like the 2-year intensive conservatory program, but being in a professional gig for 4 years and going through all of the ups and all of the downs and learning that in certain times in your life, you are a literal cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
You are literally there to help a machine and you derive your benefit from it. But I was in physical therapy for 2.5 years, almost every day. And that will change your perspective,
Oh my
because it was
God.
just, yeah, it
That
was a really
demanding.
physical show. It was that demanding, yeah. And
Wow.
nobody at AMDA ever told me how hard it was going to be. And it wasn't hard for like the first year and a half. And then I hit a wall and they cut holes in my knee to fix it. And then I had done, like it was crazy.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's
that's great.
life is going life, so you have to learn a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff and you have to adjust. And I learned how to do that, but I learned how to like really pursue my own voice from being around cats that only did that.
Right, right,
Because that's all
right.
they knew. That's all Lynn knew. That's all Tommy Kail knew. Uh, and so that was the way that I was able to ingratiate myself into like familiarizing myself with the need to express myself for its own sake, and that's when
Wow.
I kind of like came into myself, I think, you know.
I
I'm
mean,
still obnoxious and still
aren't we all
stupid, but
lucky? We're all lucky because of it. We're all
I
so
won't
lucky
go
because of
away.
it.
I ain't going away. They can lock me out.
I
I'll climb
remember
through a
when you
window.
I remember when you texted me that, I think you texted me that you were going to be George Washington, and you were like, I'm doing a new musical. First you were Derek Jeter,
Yeah.
and then
That was a
and
weird run. Like Hamilton was my
yeah.
fifth Broadway show in 14 months. I
Yeah,
did 5 Broadway shows in 14 months
that's
between
insane.
2014 and 2015. Yeah, I was on it
Yeah.
was crazy. It was exhilarating, but it was
Yeah.
like I was able to turn all those shows because all the shows I was doing, they kept closing.
Yeah.
So I would just like jump into another thing, like, but
Yeah.
These opportunities kept coming. It was dope.
They're gonna keep coming. I literally can't wait to see what's next. I think you're gonna even.
I'll keep you posted.
No, you won't.
I'm
I'll
heading.
find out.
I'm
No, you
no.
won't.
I'm
I'll find
heading
out
down
about
your
it like
way.
the
I'm
rest of the
heading down
world.
your way very soon.
Oh, you are. Good. Well,
Hmm.
text me and tell me when you're here.
Yes.
And then you'll tell me that you're here after you were here, like you normally do. Like, oh,
That's
I was at
just.
the White House, but now I'm back home. Like, oh, that's so funny. I live right around. No, okay. Anyway,
I mean,
thank you
we
for doing this.
we could talk offline, and you
We
can
could talk.
continue to harangue me. I've earned that. I've earned that. That's fine.
No, I appreciate it. And we didn't talk too much about the rest of your amazing life, but I just appreciate all your time, and I love you, and I love your family, and tell everybody I said hi, and we can't wait to see what's next, and just keep going.
You know,
Keep
a
going.
good loving conversation is always worth it.
Yeah.
It's always worth it. Please
Yeah.
give my best to your family,
I will. They're right
and
around here
stay
somewhere.
on top of things. You know, I'm around
Yeah.
if you need me for
Okay.
sure.
Merry Christmas,
Bye,
friends.
everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy
Bye.
Hanukkah,
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays.
Oh, you didn't sing. No, now I'm
All
gonna
that
get
good
in trouble
stuff.
because you didn't sing. Sing one line. No, don't.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. You don't want that.
All right, friend. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.